Hey everyone, it's me, Matt. Welcome back. So in today's video, I'll be planting up some holiday containers on my front porch and back patio, as well as doing some light Christmas decorating. So let's get into it. So I wanted to start by showing you these new black metal containers I picked up at IKEA yesterday. So they actually didn't have any drainage holes, but I used a hammer and a nail and I created my own drainage holes to modify them for outdoor use. So I'm gonna use 2 of them to transplant these flax lilies into. So these flax lilies are in these containers that are looking pretty rough. You can see the black paint is chipping off them, so they definitely need some new containers. And then the other 2, I'm gonna plant some of these seasonal annuals in. And I've also got 4 more containers on my back patio, so let me walk you to the backyard and I'll show you those containers too. So these are my back patio containers. They're clearly past their prime. I had summer annuals in here that look beautiful. They put on a spectacular show, but these containers are in desperate need of a refresh. So I've got 3 containers here on the umbrella stand, and then there's 1 more tucked behind the lounge chair. Also, check out my Hawaiian tea plants. So they started blooming this week. They put out the bloom spikes about a week and a half ago, and then all the flowers have started opening in the last probably 5 days. But they're looking beautiful with their little pink and yellow flowers. They're also really popular with the pollinators. I'm seeing honeybees everywhere. All right, back to today's project. So let me quickly remove all the dead annuals on my back patio, and then I'll transplant the flax lilies on the front porch, and then I'll give you an overview of all the new plants that I bought for my holiday inspired containers. The flax lilies are looking so much better. I also just went around and I pulled off all the dead fronds. They're looking so fresh and so clean. All right, my containers are all ready for new plants. I filled the new containers with soil. I topped off the rest. I also amended the soil in the containers with an all-purpose slow-release granular fertilizer. So let me quickly give you an overview of all the new plants I selected, and we'll get them planted up in the containers. So these are all my plants. I decided to go with a green and white theme for the plants, and then I picked up all of these red accents over at Hobby Lobby. So Hobby Lobby has an incredible selection of holiday decor, and all of it was 50% off. So in picking out the plants, I decided to go with the thrill fill spill technique. So the thrill fill spill technique is really simple. The plants that represent thrill should have some height and maybe even a unique texture that draws the eye upward. And then the plants that represent fill are gonna be your filler plants. So these plants should have a bushier growth habit. They should be medium in height. They can be foliage plants or flowering plants or a combination of the 2. And lastly, the plants that represent spill are gonna be any trailing plant that's gonna cascade and spill over the edge of the containers. So for my containers, I'm using these Juncus plants as my thrill plants. So they've got this awesome spiky texture. They grow to be about 2 feet tall. They kind of remind me of chives. They need 6+ hours of sunlight per day, and they're hardy all the way down to 32 degrees Fahrenheit. For my filler plants, I'm using these Dusty Miller and these white snapdragon plants. So both plants need at least 6 hours of sun per day. They'll grow to be about 12 inches tall and wide. The Dusty Miller is hardy down to 30 degrees Fahrenheit, and the snapdragons are hardy down to 25 degrees Fahrenheit. Lastly, for my spill plants, I'm using alyssum. So this plant only grows to be about 4 inches tall, but it spreads to be 12 inches wide. So I'm gonna plant it close to the edge of the container so that it spills out over the sides. It also needs 6+ hours of sunlight per day, and it's hardy down to 20 degrees Fahrenheit. So the next step is to get these plants planted in the containers. So let's get to it. So now that everything's been planted and watered in, I'm gonna do some porch decorating and then I'll show you the finished project. So like I said earlier, I got all this stuff at Hobby Lobby. So I'm gonna use this red velvet ribbon and I'm gonna wrap it around my front porch columns. And then I'm gonna take this big bow and these ornaments and I'm gonna use them to decorate my door. And then I'll take these cranberry sprigs, these faux cranberry sprigs, and these red ornaments, and I'm gonna use them to accentuate the containers I just planted. So I figured it'd be a nice touch of red with all of the green and white plants I just put in the containers. Now I just need to add the last little bit of red to the containers and then it's time for the big reveal. All right, everything's all done. The containers are all planted. The decorations are up. It looks so good. I can't wait to show you. So let me spin you around. I'll show you the back patio first and then we'll walk to the front yard and I'll show you the front porch. Here's the back patio planters. They look so good. They look so much better than the dry dead plants that were here before. I'm really liking the red, white, and green. It's so festive for the holidays. I think this turned out really, really well. And then here's the front porch area. So I'm really loving how this all came together. We've got the red accents and the planters, and then those tie in really nicely with the red ribbon on the columns. And then there's the red bow and the red, gold, and silver ornaments on the front door. So here's a closer look at the front door with the bow and the ornaments. So these ornaments are actually a few years old, and in the past I'd hang them at all different heights from the ceiling of my front porch. But this year when I pulled them out of the hall closet, I saw them all bundled together and I thought they'd look really cool hanging on the front door. I feel like I needed to take a quick pause to show you this rather large monarch caterpillar I just saw in my milkweed plant. And then check it out, there's a tiny little one hanging out underneath this leaf, and then another little guy up here in the flower. So cool. Anyways, back to the front porch. I'm really happy with how this turned out. I think it looks so good. My front porch is ready for the holidays. So I hope this video has given you some inspiration for your porch or patio holiday decor. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next video.